Thank you so much, everybody, for coming this afternoon. My name is Pat Connolly. I'm the police chief here at the city of Urbana. We are here to recognize a bunch of heroes this afternoon. And I look forward to this every time we do one of these. This is the February version of the Urbana Police Department Award Ceremony. What we do is police officers from our city during their day-to-day activities recognize people in our community and other police officers in our community and first responders when they do some heroic stuff, some neat stuff, some stuff that helps our community. Those police officers submit that information to a group of committee members that has been formed here at the police department. Jeff Steinberg, Shannon Wolf, Monique James, and one more, Betsy Alfonso, are the current committee members, and what they do is collect all the information. We do this periodically. It's not every 6 months. It could be 2 months, or it could be 7 months, depending on how many awards are submitted until we can roughly fill the room. And as you can see from today, we've already filled the room. So we did this last one probably 6 months ago or 5 months ago, and hopefully we'll do one next month as well, because we can't do this job by ourselves. And the police officers in the room who submit your names are the ones that every day go out and do their job heroically. But today we want to recognize your efforts because of the great things that you do. Now, everybody who knows me realizes that I talk very slowly and I articulate and I never speed things up. But today I'm going to juice through things because at 3:15 we have a Community Coalition Walk as One down on campus for the upcoming unofficial St. Patrick's Day. And it's very important that we get through all this stuff to recognize all the heroes in the room, and more importantly, or as importantly, that we take the time to eat these incredible treats that Cassie has made all these arrangements for. So it's mandatory, even if you're on a diet or you gave it up for Lent, it's mandatory that you drink and eat something with us at the conclusion of this, okay? So here's what we're going to do. Typically, let me run through very quickly how this works. We have a series of awards here at the police department to recognize different levels of heroism or excellent work. Typically, the letter of appreciation is presented to police officers, first responders, other folks from outside of the Urbana Police Department, and that's what a lot of you folks in the audience will be receiving today. Within the police department, we have a series of awards that we recognize folks. Some of them are certificates of merits, and others are a little bit more important, and they do some other kind of heroic stuff. So they actually wear a ribbon, and I just get this because I'm the chief, so I didn't do anything heroic. Some of them will actually proudly wear the ribbon on their chest, and then some of them actually receive true-to-life heroism awards, life-saving awards that they should proudly wear on their chest. One of the other things that we do is recognize the people who do life-saving awards and our Officer of the Year with, if anybody's in the military, you know what a challenge coin is. The Urbana Police Department is very careful about handing out our challenge coins because it really means a great deal to the police department or the military organization, and it represents those folks. The Officer of the Year, as well as those people who have life-saving awards, actually are the recipients of a coin as well. So that's kind of the breakdown of the different types of awards that are presented to the police department. And because, as I said, we have such limited time, we're going to get the show rolling with our first hero of the day. And I would ask that Tandalia just step up here. I know, you should be very proud. Listen to what she did, and you will see why it's so important that we recognize the folks in our community when they help us out. I'm going to read this, okay? On behalf of the men and women of the Urbana Police Department, I want to formally recognize you for your involvement in an event that could have ended with a much more serious result. And actually, one of the officers well, I thought it was here, submitted it, but one of the officers actually submitted this on behalf of Tandalia, and then it went to the awards committee. On December 13th, 2014, around midnight, Urbana police were called to a hotel on North Lincoln to address an individual contemplating suicide by knife. When officers arrived, they learned the individual's brother was a 23-year-old male, through the brother, that the 23-year-old male was distraught over a failed relationship. As they tried to talk through the emotions, the male began to use a knife to cut himself. The brother called 911, but the injured victim fled the hotel before police arrived. Officers arrived but were unable to locate the victim within the complex. Needless to say, officers were concerned because the young man was in a very highly emotionally charged state of mind and had already injured himself intentionally. Officers expanded the scope of their search in an effort to locate the victim, and Sergeant Corey Coker approached an MTD bus parked near Killarney and Lincoln. You were the driver of that bus. According to Sergeant Coker, quote, I came across the bus and wanted to ask the driver if she may have observed the individual running from the area. I asked the driver if she saw anyone walk by, and very nonchalantly, Tandalia motioned to the back of the bus, indicating the presence of the victim. Sergeant Coker radioed for additional assistance and then asked for you to disembark to ensure that you did not get injured. You quickly and safely exited the bus, distanced yourself until officers were able to subdue the young man and get him the medical treatment that he desperately needed. Tandalia, your cool head during an initial encounter and your compliance with the officers addressing this individual were instrumental in allowing the police to resolve the situation. Although the individual did not realize it at the time, your actions could have very easily prevented a much more serious or even tragic result. Thank you for your support and for getting involved. All too often, people choose not to get involved. More people like you in this community would truly make this a better place to live. So please accept this certificate of appreciation on behalf of the police department. Very good. Thank you. Here, you get this letter too. And thank you. Our MTD folks are absolutely incredible. They help us all the time, and this is just another example of how MTD and the police department work so well together. All right, let's next I'm going to ask all three of you guys, because the letter is going to read the same, but I'm going to need Ryan and Nathan and William. If you three can step up, please. Ryan, Nathan, and William, just so we can have a little test, let's guess where they work. All right, all three of these guys really were instrumental, and I'll read it to you so that you can hear for yourself just what they did for us. The letters read the same, but all of them were instrumental in really solving a real problem that we were facing within the police department. And within hours, we were able to recover about $20,000 worth of property, which was just an incredible feat in such a short period of time. All right, so dear fellas, on behalf of the entire police department, I'm proud to present you with a certificate of appreciation. Your contributions during the theft investigation that involved over $20,000 in personal effects were instrumental in the recovery of property and the arrest of the individual. On December 14th, 2014, the parents of newborn twins were leaving Carle Hospital when the mother inadvertently left her purse in the bottom of the wheelchair. When they later discovered that they left the purse, they immediately notified Carle Security, who in turn called the police. As police were responding to the scene, you three took the initiative to begin reviewing surveillance video, and based on your quick and decisive actions, you were able to develop a suspect. You shared that information with the police, and within 2 hours, the police department was able to locate and arrest the person responsible for the theft. Just as important was the fact that this family, already stressed by dealing with new twins who were still being cared for at the hospital at the time of this event, did not have to deal with the additional stressors of having to cancel credit card accounts, new driver's license, and deal with the loss of cherished personal property. The professional demeanor in which you address this issue is a credit to your profession. We rely a great deal on the men and women of Carle Security, and you do incredible work. This is just another example of that great work, and I personally want to thank you for your efforts. Please accept these certificates of appreciation as our token of thanks. So Ryan, congratulations.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you very much. And Nathan, thank you very much. And finally, William. Great work, you guys. Thank you so much for your help on that. And then why don't we take those three letters and get them to the secretary. Very cool. All right. Next on the agenda is Stephanie and Simon. Oh. Stephanie and Simon. I may not have been able to make the event. This was really kind of cool because this one was a little unique because it didn't really even involve a police report and police action in the sense that we had to dive too deep into it, because these common citizens saw a 86-year-old woman at 11:15 at night, sorely underdressed, roaming the streets. She'd slipped and fallen on the ice, and these two folks actually stopped, called the police, helped her. The police were there. The woman was disoriented. They stayed with the woman, picked up her personal effects, we found out that she had been out for well over 20 minutes exposed to very, very cold environmental conditions, and they stayed with the police. One of the officers, in fact, Betsy Alfonso, was the officer that submitted them for the award, and we were able, through some personal papers that the woman was carrying, to get her back into her home, and she was suffering from dementia. So these two folks took the time at 11:15 at night to engage with one of our community members, so we wanted to recognize them as well, but they're out of luck because they're not here. So, no, we'll get that to them. How about, you know what, we're gonna ad lib just for a minute, because you guys don't know, guys and gals, everybody in this room, don't know how day-to-day operations of a police department are very stressful. In addition to that, you have issues at home with your own family and your own kids and your own things going on. And then compounded by every day when you hop in a car and it's 13 degrees below zero with a wind chill of 31, and now all of a sudden the car isn't functioning properly, you hear people swear and stuff, and that's not good when you hear that kind of stuff. We have a guy in the room who, after 28 years of being the most incredible support to the Urbana Police Department, is going to hang up his tool belt and he's going to call it quit. So I want to ask Doug Buchanan to step up for just a second, because Doug has been such an important part of our family at the police department. We felt compelled, plus he's a big hunter, so we got him something really cool from Gander Mountain. But we felt compelled to present Doug with this certificate of appreciation, not for the day that he worked with us, not for the years that you've worked with us, but for the 20+ years that you supported the police department at a level second to none. And look, and you can tell by his red face and everything, he loves getting up in front of public. So I'm gonna have Doug give just a 15-minute thank you, and then I'm gonna get on to it. But Doug, I can't tell you, this is on behalf of all of the police officers. We want to present you with that, and more importantly, enjoy that. Thanks for all your work. Best of luck to you. Okay, we are going to transition now from the civilian folks to some of the police folks, okay? So I'm going to ask, I don't see Dwayne Maxey here, but I'm going to ask Sergeant Dan Morgan to step up. And Dan and Dwayne need to be recognized for some incredible work that they've done. This isn't heroic, but it's still incredible. It's a distinct honor to present you with the Urbana Police Department's Certificate of Merit. Your contributions to the Response to Resistance Committee have been instrumental in keeping the Urbana Police Department in the forefront of best practices as they relate to use of force events. In 2005, the Police Department recognized the need to create a group of specialized officers capable of reviewing, analyzing, and recommending policy changes to address use of force issues. The team literally reviewed hundreds of police reports quarterly to determine if officers were in compliance with current use of force policies, and to identify training initiatives that might improve the capabilities of officers involved in force events. Officers have a variety of tools at their disposal, starting with the ability to communicate and de-escalate situations with the spoken word. When those efforts are determined to be ineffective, the appropriate amount of force needed to resolve the situation is oftentimes blurred. Sergeant Dan Morgan, a master firearms instructor and supervisor of the Criminal Investigations Division, created the committee to ensure that the Urbana Police provided ongoing review of each event to ensure officers understood the issues involved in use of force. Dan's contributions and guidance ensured that the best practices were identified and implemented to reduce injuries to officers as well as members of our community. After 9 years of serving on that committee, Dan has now passed the torch. Dan's contributions as a criminal investigator, defensive tactics instructor, OC instructor, and master firearms instructor were instrumental in creating one of the most comprehensive and progressive use of force review protocols in the state of Illinois. His efforts were certainly recognized and appreciated, and his knowledge and expertise will be sorely missed. It is truly a privilege to present him with this certificate of merit. So Daniel, thank you so much for all your contributions on that team. It is well deserved. And actually, Dwayne Maxey, who literally retired yesterday, was another member of that team. He too will be sorely missed. Dwayne didn't make it this afternoon, but Dwayne will be recognized for his efforts as well. Okay, so Dan is a detective. Dwayne was a detective. The guys in the uniforms are in the patrol division. We also have another unit within the police department called our street crimes unit. And those guys, there were 3 of them, now there are 2, and the other guy didn't die, he just left, he went to Colorado. Those guys are literally the people responsible for putting all the fires out in our community. If we have a series of burglaries, these guys in soft clothes, dressed just like you guys, in soft cars, meaning cars that aren't marked as police cars, will go and observe neighborhoods and engage in people who are responsible for these serial crimes. If there are problems with violent crime, recently I'm sure you all read that we had a series of 7 events involving shooting. 60-some bullets were fired into no less than 7 different homes, with 16 kids being present in the homes. Our street crimes units were the guys that were responsible for providing the surveillance and performing the investigative talents that were responsible for identifying the folks responsible for that. And I'm proud to say that every day their efforts are what keep a lid on some of the violent crime in our community. So I want to ask Matt Quinley, Detective Matt Quinley, and Jimmy Kerner to step up. Look at them. Don't they just walk on water? Look at them. Here's another one that's going to give a speech. Look at how ready he is already. Okay, they both read the same, but well, relatively the same, because Jimmy was actually the guy on foot, but Matt was the guy standing with the driver. But nonetheless, they're still heroes. Listen to this. I'll read Matt's. It's a distinct pleasure to present you with the Urbana Police Department Certificate of Merit. Your efforts involving an event that occurred November of 2014 were instrumental in reducing violent crime in our community. In fact, on this particular day, your actions may very well have prevented a very serious event from occurring within our community. In November 2014, the Champaign-Urbana area was experiencing a significant increase in gun-related violence. On the morning of this event, the Champaign City Police were investigating a murder that was one in a series of firearm-related killings in our community. As part of Urbana's Street Crimes Unit, you were charged with proactively patrolling areas of the city that were also experiencing an increase in violent gun-related crimes. You and Detective Jimmy Kerner attempted to stop a vehicle from a traffic-related offense, and the front seat passenger of that car abruptly opened the door and fled on foot from the scene. A foot pursuit ensued, and your team was subsequently able to arrest the individual. Further investigative activity disclosed that 2 loaded semi-automatic pistols were recovered from the scene. In addition, a black ski mask, rubber gloves, zip ties typically used to bind hands, and other items were also discovered in their possession. It's important to note that one of the individuals arrested during this event was wanted out of the state of Ohio for holding an undercover police officer hostage at gunpoint. It's abundantly clear, based on the evidence collected from the scene, that your efforts were instrumental in preventing a much more serious crime. Day in and day out, members of the Street Crimes Unit provide invaluable work to reducing violent crime in our community. Your efforts largely go unnoticed by the public, but I assure you that the men and women of the Urbana Police Department recognize and appreciate your efforts. Thank you for your commitment and professionalism. You make a difference in this community, and you are clearly deserving of this award. You guys do incredible work. Thank you very much. That's yours, and that's yours, and this is yours, and there we go, Penny. Thank you very much. Great work. Next, we have another hero. Listen to this one. Adam, step up. So there was street crimes, Adam's with the patrol division, and the 3 stripes on the side means he's the sergeant. He's one of the street supervisors within the patrol division. It is a distinct honor to present you with the Department Commendation Award. That's the next level up. Your actions during the morning of October 27th, 2014 reflect great credit upon yourself and the police department. On October 27th, 2014, at about 9:20 a.m., officers responded to the 1200 block of East Michigan to assist with a troublesome elderly patient who was being transported to the hospital. A clinical social worker was visiting a 75-year-old patient who was suffering from dementia. The male's increasingly aggressive behavior prompted the social worker to contact the police. As officers waited for the arrival of an ambulance, they attempted to de-escalate the male, who was becoming more and more agitated by the situation. After further conversation, it was determined that the male would be transported to the hospital for evaluation. The male appeared to be complying with the directions to walk to the ambulance, but then abruptly turned around and entered the kitchen area. As soon as the male entered the kitchen, he removed 2 large knives from a knife block situated on the counter. The male immediately turned and faced Sergeant Chacon, who was standing approximately 15 feet from the male. Sergeant Chacon shouted for the male to drop the knives, and he drew his service pistol from his holster. The male ignored Sergeant Chacon's orders and began to advance on the officer, with 1 knife raised over the head and the other knife at waist level. Quoting directly from Sergeant Chacon's report, quote, "It occurred to me at this point that he might intend for me to shoot him," close quote. Sergeant Chacon then wrote, "Since it was evident to me that his mobility was significantly impaired, I chose to back up about 5 feet, reholster my pistol, and draw my collapsible baton." Officer Mikulik, the second officer at the scene, reported that he maintained lethal cover in the event less lethal options were not successful. As this event continued to unfold, the male continued to advance. Sergeant Chacon, using his collapsible baton, struck the knife in the male's right hand and knocked the knife to the floor. He followed with a second strike to the other knife and also knocked it out of the male's hands. The male was immediately tackled and brought to the ground. Throughout the country, this type of situation unfolds. In the evening news reports another police-involved shooting. Sergeant Chacon demonstrated a great deal of patience and professionalism by evaluating all the options and choosing to address this with a less lethal option. This clearly could have resulted in an officer-involved shooting, which could have resulted in tragic consequences. Adam, your talents and abilities as a police officer are recognized and appreciated more than you know. In this event and countless other events throughout your career, you have demonstrated your keen ability to analyze and process situations that unfold rapidly. You are a valued member of this department and truly deserving of the Commendation Award. Congratulations. So, in addition to the Commendation Award, Adam is also going to receive this ribbon, which he will, I hope, proudly wear on his uniform. Great work. Thank you. Okay, we just have a couple left. Rich Coleman, I don't think is going to be able to make it today because Rich is not feeling well. But I think it's really important that we recognize the incredible work that Rich did. So very quickly, since we have a little time and I've talked so fast that we have time to still eat, I want to read his award because Rich is now at the next level, which is a life-saving award. You want to just stand up here and pretend you're Rich? No, okay. On behalf of the entire police department and the disabled woman you carried to safety while her house was on fire, it is a distinct honor to present you with the Urbana Police Department Life-Saving Award. On October 7th, 2014, at 1:30 a.m., you were dispatched to assist fire in the 1500 block of Hunter Street. While you were en route, you learned through the dispatcher that a woman was screaming for help because her apartment was engulfed in flames. You were also informed that an additional hazard existed because the victim of the house relied on oxygen. When you arrived, you retrieved your fire extinguisher from the trunk of your squad and ran to the front door. When you entered the front door, you were immediately confronted by thick smoke and you heard the victim screaming for help. As the victim continued screaming, you reassured her that you would not leave her in the room, but because of her size, you could not remove her from the bed without some additional assistance. As you attempted to persuade her to assist herself from the bed, you reported seeing flames spreading from underneath the bed itself. You applied your fire extinguisher directly to the flames, and several other officers arrived within moments. Fortunately for the victim, you arrived when you did. Your actions were responsible for saving this woman's life. Now, this is an important one because for all of our fire department friends, they need to know that we don't condone police officers running into burning buildings, and we recognize that. So here's how I caveated that. As the police chief, I constantly struggle with the conflicting messages administrators share with the officers they serve. We all know that you don't run into a burning building, yet when you see the dangers associated with these rapidly evolving events that officers face day in and day out, you sometimes realize that so many officers do the right thing just in order to serve others. Policing is a dangerous profession, and although we always strive to maintain a balance, the risk sometimes outweighs the consequences, and we do what we can to help them. You performed admirably that morning, and I'm confident the family of this woman appreciates your efforts. I can state without reservation that your efforts are recognized by me and the entire police department, and you are clearly deserving of the department's life-saving award. He certainly earned it. And this, too, is going to be an award that Rich will be proudly displaying on his chest. And Rich is also going to get one of the department coins because of it. So we'll get that to it. So now we have just a few more heroes. Come on up here, Miguel. I'm going to do this in Spanish because this is our Spanish-speaking guy, and I've been practicing. Now, for anybody who's in the back standing, you might as well grab a seat because this hero gets all kinds of stuff. And we're going to start with his life-saving award. He's one of the other recipients. On behalf of the entire police department and the families you were directly involved in removing from the apartment complex on North Cunningham Avenue, it is a distinct honor to present you with the Urbana Police Department Life-Saving Award. On September 20th, 2014 at 3:47 a.m., you were dispatched to assist fire at the Town and Country apartment complex located on North Cunningham. When you arrived, you observed flames and black smoke coming from apartment 201. Grabbing your fire extinguisher, you immediately responded to the area and attempted to extinguish the fire. When you realized the fire was beyond the capabilities of that small extinguisher, compounded by the thick black smoke in the area, you redirected your attention to the apartments in the area. You literally went door to door on the second and third floor of the complex, warning people that they needed to evacuate immediately. By the time Urbana Fire arrived, you were able to successfully remove 8 people from that burning building. Although you suffered from smoke inhalation, the results of your swift and decisive action allowed 8 people to flee the building with no one being seriously injured. You allowed fire personnel to focus on the remaining evacuation plans, knowing which apartments did not require additional evacuation. Here's my caveat again. As the chief of police, I constantly struggle with the conflicting messages administrators share with officers they serve. We all know that you do not run into a burning building. Yet, when you see the dangers associated with these rapidly evolving events that officers face day in and day out, you realize that so many officers do what they do to think that it is in order to serve others. Policing is a very dangerous profession, and although we always strive to maintain a balance, the risks sometimes outweigh the consequences, and we do what we do to help others. You performed admirably that morning, and I'm confident that the families of those 8 individuals sincerely appreciate your efforts. Your efforts were clearly recognized by the police department, and you are well deserving of the Life-Saving Award. Wear it proudly, you certainly earned it. Congratulations. So, this is the Life-Saving Award. And with that, you get this. All right? Now, keep that in your pocket, because if I slap that on the counter at one of the liquor establishments, and you don't have it with you, you buy me the beer. That's how it works. All right, now, typically I would say, okay, go sit down, Miguel. But I can't, because I need you to stay up here for yet another award. Ladies and gentlemen, the Urbana Police Department is proud to recognize Officer Mike Cervantes as the 2014 Officer of the Year. Mike was nominated by his supervisors and peers for his continuous commitment, professionalism, and dedication to duty. Mike has been a member of the Urbana Police Department since 2006 and is currently the department's canine officer. Although he is assigned to a designated team, Mike has routinely adjusted his work schedule because of this unique job responsibility. When a senior citizen walks away from a nursing home, while a felony offender flees the scene, or when police officers require the specialized capability of a narcotic sniffing dog, Mike responds without hesitation. Because crimes occur at all hours of the day and night, Mike's off-duty time is constantly being interrupted. Mike recognized this when he accepted the canine position, and the ability to respond to various scenes was impressive if he were to be successful. The good news is, more often than not, his efforts have been instrumental in the successful resolution of many of those events. In addition to his unique contribution as a canine officer, Mike has also gone out of his way to assist the Spanish-speaking community. On countless occasions, he has provided interpretive services to members of the community who may struggle with English as the primary language. Recognizing his work, as I'm struggling through this, quit laughing at me. Say it in Spanish right after me. Recognizing his work ethic as one of the most notable strengths, he also sets himself apart from others because of his compassion for members within the community. Several officers shared their observations about Mike's unique ability to transition to various roles. In one situation just before Christmas, Mike initiated a traffic stop on a mother with 5 children. The woman appeared distraught, and when Mike learned that there were financial stressors that compounded some of the other family stressors, instead of simply writing a ticket and moving on, he transitioned from police officer to Santa Claus. Mike addressed the traffic infraction with a warning, then provided the kids with token gifts. He also provided a gift card to the family so that the family might have a better Christmas. When Mike responded to assist paramedics on a call for an unresponsive person, he arrived to learn that the individual was in grave health. He also learned that the individual was a retired police officer from the area. As the family accompanied the loved one to the hospital, Mike informed the on-duty supervisor that he was going to remain at the residence to clean up a significant stain that was found on the carpet so that the family did not have to address that concern when they returned home. That simple yet incredibly important gesture is what sets Mike apart from the other officers in the area. His compassion for others is the foundation of his service, and many members of this community are better moms, dads, brothers, and sisters because of his efforts. As if that was not enough, Mike was also recognized by the department for his heroic actions during the early morning hours of September 20th. And then I read that previous event to you where Mike ran in, put on a Superman cape, and got all those people out of the apartment complex. So because of all of those reasons, and many, many more that I could share with you, Mike was selected as this year's Officer of the Year. This nomination only touches the surface to many of the contributions Mike Cervantes made in 2014. He is truly a hero who is well deserving of this recognition. Although Mike is a humble individual who always says, quote, "I'm only doing my job," many people in our community are better off because of Mike's efforts. It is truly an honor to present him with the recognition he clearly deserves. So congratulations on and with that, you get this plaque, and you get yet another coin, so you'll never have to buy a beer. Okay, now, say something to these people. Hold on, say it in Spanish so they don't understand.
Thank you, my family, for coming. I appreciate it. That's first, obviously the most important, my daughter. I don't know if she's more excited about being here, supporting me, or because she got to be out of school today. But I'll take it either way. No, I really appreciate the board and Sergeant Norton for nominating me. He didn't say he did it, but I'm pretty sure he's the one that did it.
He was.
And thank you guys. Obviously, a lot of times we're criticized, we're personally attacked for the job that we do in the uniform that we wear. It's important that everybody here knows that I was just doing my job, and there's several of us in this room today, several of us out there that just continue to do our job like that, and it may go unnoticed, and it speaks to the character of the profession and what we do. So it's an important thing, and you guys, families being here, and citizens especially that come out that have no ties to us, it's huge, and I encourage you to come in the future, even in this room sometimes, we're criticized. So come on, support us, we appreciate it. We really, truly do, and we keep our mouth shut for the most part on a lot of that stuff. But your guys' support means a lot to us as well as our families. So thank you.
Very cool. There's the letter. And it's very important to note that I was about to kick Mike because he started saying something about this room with the mayor of our fine city sitting right here. So, all right, the last person that we need to recognize, and we saved the best for last, no offense, Miguel, but we saved the best for last because Cassandra is truly my hero. She's the one that puts all of these together every time we get together, but beyond, way beyond this stuff, day in and day out, as I'm going to read, Cassie has just been a pillar of strength for the entire police department. So Cassie is the 2014 Civilian of the Year. I want to read you her nomination. In 2014, the 2014 Civilian of the Year is, in my opinion, the most valuable member of the leadership team. Cassie Heldman is without question the most humble, professional, and compassionate person I have ever had the pleasure of working with. Cassie's work ethic and attention to detail make her the unanimous choice for this year's recognition. Although her official title is Administrative Assistant to the Chief of Police, she is clearly recognized by everyone in the city as doing much, much more than that. Throughout the year, Cassie quietly offers her knowledge and expertise to anyone needing to address any issue. Whether it deals with budgets, scheduling, travel, payroll, or equipment needs, Cassie is the, quote, go-to person. In the nomination letter and on a recurring basis throughout the year, individuals spontaneously share their appreciation for Cassie's efforts, and they tell me how much they recognize her professionalism and the work that she performs. Cassie is willing to address any task, no matter how big or small, and she does so with a huge smile on her face. Beyond Cassie's contagious positive attitude, her professional development and department knowledge truly set her aside from her peers. Cassie assisted in bringing the department into the 21st century by working with the IT Information Technology Department on the development of a paperless system. In recent years, the Finance Department has experienced numerous personnel changes. With each change, there was a new method of tracking and addressing budget procedures. Cassie tirelessly adjusted to those various approaches and seamlessly maintained the $9 million budget that fluctuated drastically from year to year. Simply put, Cassie Hellman's many contributions to this department and to the community are not recognized and appreciated often enough. Every single member of this department benefits from her contribution, and she is clearly deserving of this award. So thank you very much, Cassie, for all of your work. Thank you for keeping me. And that's yours. All right. Oh, please do, dive in.
Before he concludes this, Mike Cervantes and Matt Rivers would like to present something.
So a little bit of background on this, just because it requires a little bit of explanation. On December 20th, 2014, 2 NYPD officers were executed in their squad car in New York. It was a particularly violent and heinous act that happened there. As a result, through the generosity of the Urbana Police Department and JetBlue Airlines, Mike and I, as members of the department's honor guard, were able to travel to New York City and attend the funeral for one of these officers, Officer Liu. When we arrived, we were struck by the hospitality of the NYPD. We stayed at a stayed at a hotel nearby, and the NYPD made arrangements for us to travel both from the airport to the hotel. They picked us up in the morning, took us to breakfast, then they arranged for our transportation to the funeral. We were just blown away by the hospitality. Here we were to honor their dead, and they were treating us like royalty, really. So here we were, 2 guys from a small town in central Illinois, walking through the streets of Brooklyn with officers from Washington State, Texas, Montreal, Florida, and standing in formation for this police funeral, which is a tremendously emotional event. And it was a tremendous honor for us to be there to represent this city, to render that honor for their officer. So thanks to the department for the generosity to allow us to provide that honor to the NYPD, and Mike actually put something together here to memorialize that, to present it to the chief.
Oh, this is so cool.
So there's a couple pictures in here. There's an NYPD patch with an Urbana patch and a photograph of us there.
It's beautiful. We will proudly display this right at the front desk, so anytime anybody walks in, they realize how dangerous this job is and how important it is to be part of this family. So thank you very much, you guys. This is beautiful. Beautiful. We're going to set this right up here so that, as I said, I'm going to ask Elizabeth or Alan or somebody to lock, or Dee Dee, to lock those doors, because the event isn't over, it just started. We're done with recognizing all the heroes in the room. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to do this. I want to thank all of you for participating and helping us. We can't do this job by ourselves. We need the community to be engaged with us. I am so proud to be a part of this community, because day in and day out, people are calling me, telling me about great things the officers do, and share some really good things about what people do within our community to help each other. MTD, I mean, I could go on for hours and hours, but I told you I got to go do a walk is one thing, and we still got to eat cupcakes. So with that, I think what we will do is formally declare this to be the February award ceremony is over. Hopefully within a few months, we're going to have another one of these. And until then, please help yourself and get to meet one another. Thank you. And look at this as well.